Hey guys, it's Maymay and welcome to our Sunday video. And today I will be discussing my prayer journal. I should probably say my failed prayer journal. That's right. I'm going to be super honest with you guys today. And the first thing I want to say before we start this video is this. If you started your prayer journal when I did, I think it was early December, um, and it has worked for you, I'm so happy about that. That's good. That just means you were introduced to something new, it worked for you, and you have enjoyed it. You guys would have seen how I laid out my prayer journal, and I had grandiose ideas that this was going to be how I change everything about my prayer life, and it was going to turn it around. And instead, it did a few things. Number one, and I have this here because I'm going to show you my new plan, which is working. So don't get discouraged. But number one, here's what the prayer journal didn't, here's one reason the prayer journal didn't work for me. It was too much. I made it too detailed and too organized. And this is going to sound really bad. And I hope you guys, and some of you guys may relate, because I told you when I was making that journal, this may not work for me. And I'll tell you why. There's some things about me I know about myself that kind of gave me warning signs. But the first thing was, it's going to sound crazy. I almost felt like I was filing my prayers away more than actively being in prayer. I don't know how to really describe that, but remember, I'm going to say this several times throughout this video. This is my experience, and my experience and your experience is going to be completely different. And some of you guys might really, really enjoy it. So that was the first thing that was not for me. The second thing that wasn't for me, and this is the warning sign I had, okay? I have tried so many times to be a planner person, to have a planner, to have a calendar, to open that calendar, to write everything down. I've tried to be this person, and I'm not that person. And I feel as though that prayer journal was very much like that for me. And so I had an automatic aversion to the book, not prayer. This has nothing to do with my prayer life, but that book. It almost made me not want to sit down with it because I didn't enjoy it. It was and again, I don't want to make it sound like if I don't enjoy prayer, I'm not going to do it. It's not that. It almost seemed like more work for me than it did a conversation with God. So you might remember in that same video, I showed you a third or second option, which would be to digitally do this. So do this in your iPad or your phone or what have you. And I showed you using an app called GoodNotes. Well, guess what? I'm such a loser, y'all. So GoodNotes is great for my work stuff. It works great for that. But for some reason, it doesn't work for a prayer journal. Maybe a prayer journal for me doesn't work. That's probably what the situation is. I'm going to show you what does work. We're going to get to that in a second. But here's what I wanted to do for you guys, because I feel like I encouraged you to get on this prayer journal bandwagon. And some of you, I may have been the first person you ever heard about one from. Because listen, I discovered it and I thought it was a really cool thing and I thought it would turn things around for me. But that's just like when I discovered planners. I thought that was going to turn my life around and it didn't. And I should have known better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a search on YouTube and I'm going to find a bunch of people who are doing prayer journals and I'm going to link them in the description below. Now, I'm not going to have time to watch every single one of these videos, but I'm going to be real diligent on trying to find ones that I think are going to be good for you guys if you're doing this. So I'm going to put a link in the description of this video so you can go find some other folks that are doing prayer journals with you. And I'm going to say to you, I'm being like I'm giving you like raw honesty about me today. And I'm going to say to you, I am not going to be doing prayer journal videos. It's too much for me. You know how I tell you guys that I have an aversion to numbers, like not an aversion, but numbers cloud up in my head. Numbers don't go in my head and make sense. Like my husband is different. Vince, he can see numbers. Like he can see numbers as a whole. And then it's just all different for him than me. Well, this whole prayer journal thing was that way for me too. I really felt like I was putting my prayers away more than keeping my prayers in my forefront and keeping myself talking to God. So that's how I feel about it. And I'm sorry if I've disappointed you. I'm sure there's some of you I've disappointed. But if I'm not honest with you, I mean, I could fake this, right? This is a video that I edit and I plan and I put out, and I could totally fake this for you guys and just write a bunch of stuff in that journal and but that's not who I am. I cannot do that. I want to be honest with you. And so And I don't want to waffle today about it because I know you don't want an hour-long video of me telling you how I failed it. But I failed it. Maybe it failed me. I don't know. I feel like I failed it. So here's what I have done. I'm going to show you. This is my iPad. I've been trying very hard to use my iPad to keep me more organized. And guess what? That doesn't work either. I'm really bad at that. Okay. Which is what I was hoping it would turn my life around, but it doesn't. Okay. But let me show you what I have been doing. Or let me encourage you with something I think will work for you as well as me. Um, and what I mean by that is I'm not going to show you my actual prayer notes. I'm not going to show you my actual ones because they're personal, but I'm going to show you an option. So here I am. You see I hope we don't get too bad of a glare. Let's turn this on. All right. I don't think you have a terrible glare, but this is my iPad. And by the way, this is just a keyboard. You know, I had it in this is how much I change, y'all. I had it in my little, protector little book. That's what I was using it as, and I've already changed it to using a keyboard. Okay, here's what I'm doing. So this is your notes pad that comes on your phone, comes on your iPad, comes on your Android. You guys have a notes app on there as well. You don't have to do anything fancy to do this. All right. So here's my notes app. And if you look right here, it says prayer list. And if I tap prayer list, it's just going to open this page that I've already got open here. Okay. And this works better for me. I'm not a list maker, but I'm trying to become a list maker because I feel like planning and organizing in a book is not working for me. So I'm trying to be a list maker, which seems to be working for me pretty good. I can check off a list a lot better than I can do a planner. So you have to find what works for you, right? So here's what I've done. And this is, like I said, this is not my real prayer list. This is one for you guys to see. So what I started with was my family, and I listed out people and things I would want to pray for in my family. For example, my husband, my kids, my grandkids, my daughter-in-law, Sam, and her pregnancy, my parents, my siblings, my brother Billy, my brother Danny, my extended family, my Aunt Nita. Now, like I said, this is just some snippets from what I'm praying for. What I suggest, if you're going to use this notes app, let me zoom in just a little bit. What you can do is, say you want to pray for your husband. You can, right beside his name, you can put like a, hold on, let me turn my keyboard on. You can put like a colon, semicolon. What's the two dots? I don't know. Y'all know. All right. And then you can, underneath there, write what you're wanting to pray for him for. Maybe his safety. I always pray that in hunting season, right? Or I want to pray for his, him during worship, leading worship. Let me write leading worship because I always want to do that. Typing is also not my strong point, apparently. Leading worship. Now, here's the thing. I don't want to get too deep in here, meaning I don't want to get my list so long that it becomes cumbersome as well. That doesn't mean I'm not going to talk to God for a long time. That doesn't mean that. He doesn't care if I have typed this out, okay? These are just things you want to make sure you're speaking to him about. You're not typing on here, "Dear God, please remember my family, my husband," and you're not typing your prayer out. These are just bullet points that you want to be sure you mention. And here's what I really like about it, okay? About doing this list situation versus doing the book situation. With the list, and obviously it's not as long as my list is, with the list, I can take this with me to church, okay? And when I'm at church and people say, "Hey, please be remembering this person this week," or "Please pray for this person this week," or I can put that in here and I can edit it on the go. So for example, I don't know if you don't attend church, you may not be aware of this, but we have prayer lists. Like in our Sunday school, we have a chalkboard and we write prayer lists on it. Prayer request, and we write praise reports on it as well, which are my favorite parts. But if someone has been sick last week and they're better, we then take them off that list. Not that we're not still remembering them in our church as a whole, or in our community as a whole, but we're not praying for that specific need, so we remove them from the list. And I can do that here. So let's say hunting season is over. If this was specifically hunting season is over, I can delete this out and not pray for that anymore. Maybe there's something else I want to pray for him more specifically. I have found this is a much easier thing for me to do. Okay. I can put people in, I can take people out. And that may feel odd. Like taking people off your prayer list may feel odd, but what you might want to do instead of taking them off, if it bothers you, is put them on a praise list. So you can start a new note. Okay. And you can call this one your praise report list, or whatever you want to call it. So once I've done praise report list, maybe I want to be thankful that okay, so like Ryan came from the hospital weeks ago, but this is when we were praying for really, really hard in our church. So Ryan is doing better and is home. So I'm not necessarily removing him from my prayer list. I'm putting him on my praise report list, and these are things I can thank God for all the time. That's totally up to you if you want to have one of those lists. I know a lot of people struggle taking people off of lists. They feel like our prayer list, they feel like they're not going to pray for them anymore. And that's not really the case, because if you're like me, you pray for some things as a whole. I pray for the heart group as a whole. I pray for my community as a whole. Sometimes I pray for my church as a whole, and then specifics. There's some things you don't know enough to not pray for it as a whole. You know, if someone comes to you and says, "Can you be in prayer for me for a situation I'm going through?" Well, you've just got to pray for that person as a whole. You can't be extremely specific, right? So that kind of situation is what I'm talking about. Um, so this is my new thing. And I got to be honest, this is so much easier for me. I don't um I don't feel as though I wouldn't have kept up the prayer journal. I know I wouldn't. I couldn't do it. It just weighted my brain down. It made me feel like I was filing away and organizing, and I felt as though if I was in this section, you know, I don't know. I felt like I was forgetting stuff in another section, or it turned prayer time into work, and that's not what I want. Yes, prayer needs to be intentional. Needs to be intentional. You need to intentionally pray. You know, you need to carve out time, and you need to intentionally pray, okay? But you've got to do what works for you, what fits your lifestyle, or else you won't do it. It's like anything else. And you can tell by knowing me, okay? I have issues in my life with discipline. I have issues in my life with stick to itiveness. I am a person who likes change. I like to be on the go all the time. So committing myself to something like that, I should have known better. I should have known better. I know me better than that. And you guys will have heard me over the years say, I want to set myself up for success. I did not do that with that prayer journal. I set myself up for a fall. I should have known. Um, and I don't want you, I hope I'm not discouraging you from using your journal. If it's been working for you, that is such a blessing. Here's what I want you to remember. I'm going to close this so it's not distracting. Here's what I want you to remember. We are different people designed in different ways, okay? And what works for you works for you, and what works for me works for me. And I'm proud of myself for trying, because that was something I had in the back of my mind for a long time. Like, do I want to do this? Is this something that'll work for me? At least I tried. Um, and I'll tell you something, making this video has been like the planning of this video. I literally have not wanted to do this because I don't want you guys to be disappointed in me. But then again, I think to myself, you know, hopefully you guys can be proud of the fact that I love you enough to come to you and be honest, because could I not have just brought that book out and like, hey, here's what I'm doing? That's such a lie, and I can't do that. I cannot be that person. Truth of the matter is, the list works better for me. A prayer list works better for me. Um, and some of you may be feeling the same way. So I would like for you to say that for me down below. Now, let me tell you what it has done for me. What the prayer journal did for me. First off, it made me talk to God a lot about it, which is really interesting. I talked to God about the prayer journal so much, which I was surprised by, because it almost made me feel guilty in my prayer life. And I would talk to God about it, and I'd have to be reminded that the prayer journal is not my prayer life, right? I had to be reminded of that. And I think I think God finally got through to me a couple of weeks ago and made me realize that I was spending a lot of time asking forgiveness for this prayer journal, which I don't have any business even, he doesn't care about that. He does care that you're speaking to him, but that prayer journal didn't bother him one bit, right? It was me it was bothering. But I do enjoy that it's made me speak to him more. I'll tell you something else that's happened. Carving out the time has been helpful. Like, because with the prayer journal, you had to carve out time. If you're doing it, you're having to carve out time to make it happen. With my list, I can be fluid with my list, right? With my prayer journal, I would have to go and sit down and fill it in, and I'd have to remember all the things that had been said to me throughout the day and make sure I got that in there, et cetera, which I'm bad at. And you need to set yourself up for success as well. So if you're bad at that, think like I do, right? But what it did do was it helped me to focus on time for prayer. And I'm not perfect, and I'm doing better. And I'm letting less and less things distract me from that time, and I'm enjoying that. And I feel that is getting better and stronger. And so I'm grateful for that. It has brought me that. So that's the situation. And I'm just going to be honest with you about it. There have been things that I have done on our Sundays that I'm very proud of. Like I did 3 years of Bible journaling every week, of art journaling, or it was scripture art journaling. And I was very proud of that because that's not the person I am. I'm usually a start and stop kind of person. Like I rarely do something for a year. I think that's probably the only thing I've ever really put myself to that I've done. And I should have known better in this instance. But you can't know till you try. And so that's what I did. So if you're disappointed in me, I apologize. If you understand where I'm coming from, I appreciate that you relate with me or that you understand. Um, I don't want you to stop journaling though, prayer journaling, if it's working for you. Maybe maybe what God had for me was to introduce it to you. And maybe that's where it was supposed to go. And I feel like that's what I did. And I don't feel like I did a good job of teaching you how to use it, but that's because it just didn't work for me. I'm happy about what I'm doing. I'm happy about my prayer life. I'm happy. I'm not 100. I'm never going to be 100% happy with my prayer life. I could always do better. But I am working at that, and I'm working toward making that better. And I hope you guys can forgive me for failing you, because I do feel like I failed you. Um, but I also know that you guys understand where I'm coming from. You've known me for a long time, and you know how I am. And some of you probably went, "This is not her." Some of you probably did that and should have probably, well, no, you could have told me, but it wouldn't have mattered because I'm also that person that says, "Oh, yes, it is. I'll try." Okay. I love you guys very much. I'm going to have prayer for us today before we close out. I know this is not devotion today, but it could take it as this. You know, take it like this. If we want to look at it as devotion, if we want to see what came from this, for me, I even got a better understanding of who I am and what things I should focus on and what things I shouldn't. And having to come to you and admit a failure like this has made me stronger. I'm going to be honest. God is strong in our weakness. And he and I've had lots of conversations about how this video was going to go. And I feel comfortable. I think you can hear in my voice, I feel comfortable speaking to you about this today because I feel like he knows and he's aware and he has led me in this whole search and situation. So just know that when we fail, when we mess up, God is strong in that, and I'm appreciative of what I learned from this situation. So if you take it that way, I think you'll see where I'm coming from, or I think you'll be able to take this as a devotion today. Let God be strong in your weakness, and don't be afraid to say where you're weak. Goodness, I've been humbled. I've eaten a big slab of humble pie today. So, or actually for this whole period of time, I have been eating humble pie, but I'm glad to finally come to you with it and tell you what my new route is. I don't see a need to come to you monthly to do a prayer list situation to show you how that's working. We may address prayer often because I'm getting my feet planted in prayer. I'm trying to, so I may address it more. But for today, I want to have prayer for you and also for myself for failing you. And so let's just go to the Lord together. God, thank you so much for giving me the strength and the ability to come to my favorite people. These are my viewers and my subscribers. They mean the world to me. You know that. And I just want to thank you for giving me the courage to come to them and be honest and be, uh, raw and obvious to them and let them know exactly how this has gone for me. I just thank you that they will receive it well. I know that they will, God, and I thank you because you give them that heart to know me and to know my intention. And God, today, if there's someone out there who the prayer journal has been working for amazingly, I'm so grateful that you showed it to me and gave me the courage to show it to other people. I'm grateful for that, God. If it has helped one person, then what we did or what I tried worked. And I'm grateful for that. And I thank you for that. And God, if today me showing this prayer list opportunity is a better plan for someone and it changes their prayer life, then thank you for introducing this idea to me. And thank you for helping it to be something that works for me and for that person who's watching today. For people that are out there today, God, and they don't know you and they don't communicate with you and they don't know where to head, I pray, God, that you'll help them to know that you're real. You're a real person. You really hear us. You really love us and you really want to have communication with us. How we communicate is just you and I together, God. And I just pray that that person today who hasn't found that, who hasn't stepped into that life, of fellowship with you and speaking with you and learning about you, God. I just pray that today you'll make yourself very real to them. They will feel you all about them and they will see you in things of nature and things around them, in the faces of their loved ones, and they'll start to know how real you are. And God, for non believers today, if there's one person listening, I just pray that they'll be able to see, hey, Christians make mistakes and this was one I made. And I hope that they can see that it's not the end of anything. It's the beginning of something new. And I believe that you're going to be very well a part of their lives. If they're needing you, I believe you can be a part of their lives. And I believe you're going to be a part of this for us as well. And God, so that person today that's watching that doesn't believe, I just pray that you'll help them right now to start to want to know about you. Let the Holy Spirit start to touch them right now and help them to know you and know that you're real. And God, you know that there's a specific person in my life that I really, really, really would love for you to touch in that way, God. And I'm going to ask right now that you'll do that. You know who the person is. And I just feel like if we're going to discuss this today, I want to discuss it with you now. And that is that I just pray, God, that you would touch that person and bring them back to you. That's what I would love to see happen. And I just pray for anyone who's going through financial situations or sickness, or if they're just feeling lost, if they're just wanting to come back to you, God, I just pray that today you'll be right there. You'll be real. You'll be there. They can almost reach out and touch you. They'll know you're that real. And thank you so much for this platform, God. We say it over and over again, but what you have done here, what you have given us is amazing. And this platform to be able to come together as believers and to learn about you together and try things to get to know you more and try learning more about our walk with you together, God, it's amazing. And I thank you for it. And today I just ask all these things in Jesus' precious name. Amen. I love you guys. I appreciate you. My heart is for you. And I pray that you'll accept this as it is, as my humble failure, and I will do better. I will do better because I think this plan is going to work. And I'm not leaving you out. I'm not leaving you in the lurch. If you're doing the prayer journal and you need some guidance or some direction, let me know in the comments. And what I'll do is I'll get with people who do prayer journals and try to get information for you. Because if nothing else, we can find resources together. Thanks so much, guys. I love you. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.